Hey, good Monday morning, everybody. It is early here in beautiful Surfside, California, but I've got to drive to Mexico so I can do a live show for you tonight at 6 p.m. with Paulina in Ensenada, Baja California Norte. So I thought I'd come down and do the morning briefing a tad early. Looks like a beautiful morning. Thanks for being here. Stay tuned.
Nothing would make me happier than to spend some time with you on the water. So here's a few opportunities. We have 3 trips in May, 2 on the El Patron, May the 9th and the 23rd, and then May the 31st on the Island Spirit out of Ventura Harbor sport fishing. And then a reverse 2.5-day trip out of 22nd Street Landing in San Pedro, California on board the Apollo. What a trip that's going to be. If you want information or want to reserve on any of those trips, just send me a text at 657-227-6459.
Hey, good morning, my dear friends, and welcome to beautiful Surfside, California. It's a gorgeous morning, a little bit chilly down here, and a slight breeze, really not all that much at all. But we certainly have a lot going on here on this Monday morning. First of all, I've got to tell you all, I'll be live from Ensenada this evening at 6 o'clock with the lovely Paulina. We'll see what's biting in Ensenada. Are those yellowtails still fired up? We'll find out what's new with Paulina. We're going to do some surf fishing with her also on this trip. We'll have that for you. We are also going to go yellowtail fishing. Hopefully the yellows are going to bite. If not, we'll focus on some rockfish, maybe calico bass with our friend Louis Prieto at It's For Real Sport Fishing. So we've got a big day planned for you, and the next couple of days should be great also. This Thursday, I'm going to be at the Fibbers Christian Fishing Club, and it's always good to spend time with my dear friends there. You're all invited. I would love to see you there. In fact, I'll be doing a brand new presentation. I'm thinking on Mexico, how to get there, is it safe, what's biting right now, what boats to charter. I'll have that all for you on Thursday at 7 p.m. at the Fibbers Club. All right, so much to talk about. You know the whale watch boats? Joe Surwald, he's up there in Northern California, trusted source, great Friedman Adventures family member. The whale watch boats out of Monterey, 4 miles off the beach, are seeing quite a bit of bluefin tuna right now. That's curious, isn't it? We've also on the search, trying to dig up some bluefin tuna here in the Southern California, Northern Baja area. Where did those little devils go? Are they just down? A couple of guys are going to chime in on that, guys that are well respected in this industry. And of course, we've got great rockfish, some halibut, we're looking for white sea bass, and so much more. You know what time it is. It's time for the morning briefing. Good Monday morning, my friends. Oh my God, is that good? Don't forget, I'd love to see you on one of our trips that are coming up here. 3 trips in May, 2 on the El Patron, 1 on the Island Spirit up there out of Ventura Harbor sport fishing. Just send me a text. We'll get you on board and have a great time together. 657-227-6459. Don't forget, tick the bell. Well, first of all, subscribe to the Friedman Adventures YouTube channel. Then tick that little bell. You'll be notified when there's new content. Pound on that like button right now. It means so much to us, and we deeply appreciate that. Share these videos with a friend. You can also find us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Make sure you check us out in all those venues. We are soaring to new heights in the views that all of you are making possible for us, so we thank you very much for that. Let's start out in Mexico, south of the border. Now, I don't have all the details on this, so I'm just going to try to explain it the best I can. The Marines, Mexican Marines, have seized the main port of Cabo San Lucas. Now, this is unfolding. It may be all resolved by the time you hear this. However, they've seized that, and the main Marina there in Cabo is telling boat owners, you may be asked to make a payment to the Marines, but that is not going to be a payment to us. Once this all gets resolved, you're still going to owe us. So it's a big spit show, let's put it that way, down in Cabo right now. And we'll see how this all unfolds. Could be just a money grab. Who knows what exactly is going on, but there's a lot of confusion. Boat owners don't know what to do, and we'll see how this all unfolds as we go along. But it's the main marina in Cabo San Lucas. I've been talking to sources on the ground, and they're like, we have no clue what is going on here. So we'll find out what's going on. Let's get into the fishing info and talk to you about what is going on in San Quintin. We've seen some great yellowtail action going on down there. Excellent fishing on the yellows. Nice big fish. A lot of that 15 to 25 pound yellowtail biting really well 140 miles down below the border. We've seen spectacular fishing on the yo-yo iron, surface iron. There's been some big bonita, and there's also been some spectacular rock fishing down there in that neck of the woods. So that is continuing right now. That is 140 miles down below the border. We'll move you up a little bit closer to the border, 70 miles into Ensenada, and that yellowtail bite has been sputtering, probably because I mentioned I'm headed down there and want to catch some fish. Man, what is it? Am I a black cloud or something? Anyway, we're watching the Ensenada area very closely, so closely that we'll actually be there in a few hours. Well, around 3 this afternoon. We'll be there. I have a live update from Ensenada with Paulina, who I so thoroughly enjoy working with. Can't wait to see her mom and her aunt and her uncle and Foca and everybody else that makes Botes Juanitos and the Ensenada region so special to me. So that yellowtail off the bite a little bit. We intend to get it going again. And once again, we'll be fishing on It's For Real Sport Fishing in Ensenada with our dear friend Louis Prieto. Be chucking some iron and hopefully catching some fish. If not, we'll bring home some rockfish and show you exactly how to travel down there in safety and security and have a good time. When you're in Mexico Lindo, there's been some bass, there's been some barracuda flurries, there's been some of that big bonita, there's copious amounts of colorful and delicious eating rockfish down there. And the weather forecast for Tuesday, when we're going to actually be fishing on a boat with Louie, is beautiful. Looks like it's going to be gorgeous, like 70-degree weather and not much wind at all. So I am really excited about that. All right, long range. Hey, I've got to put in here right now Roy Rose, my dear friend who runs the Royal Polaris out of Fisherman's Landing in San Diego, finishing up a spectacular 18-day trip with a yellowfin tuna that went 350 plus pounds and several over 200 pounds and so many over 100 they didn't have time to count, with a good splash of wahoo. I hooked up live with Roy Rose on the Royal Polaris to do a special update. That's why you tick the bell. If you didn't see it, here it is right now. Let's go out to the Royal Polaris and Captain Roy Rose.
Am I excited? Am I thrilled to see my friend Roy Rose on the Royal Polaris? Roy, how the heck are you?
I'm doing good. We're just finishing up a nice trip we just had.
Oh my God, that is an understatement. You know, the name Roy Rose has become synonymous with the Royal Polaris and all the excellent catches you've made over the years. You got to be getting old. How long you been on that rig? Like 30 years or something?
It's been 30 years. It's been a lot of fun catching a lot of fish.
I know, man. You have so many fans. I know so many people who love fishing with you. So, you know, Roy, we actually have people a lot in Southern California, but we actually have people around the world. So they're going to be amazed to hear just about when you left San Diego, how long this trip was, and where you were fishing. Can you fill us in on that? How long of a trip is this?
uh, we started just looking around, trolling for wahoo. We beat the wahoo up that day. Man, we had 56 that day. And then later in the afternoon, usually that's when you like to put the kite out. We put the kite out. We had some dead flyers and figured out where we wanted to try. We put them out, and we got a 180 pounder, another one about 170. Then then it was dark, but we had a lot of shark issues and stuff, so we had to kind of skirt the sharks. But anyway, we made a couple. We made a nice tank of flyers, made a nice live flyers. Went up, set up. We didn't mess with the wahoo. We set up for the current that was there, and just started scratching away on the kite. It was an afternoon bite. We were catching anywhere from 200 to 100 pounders a day. Very good fishing. We
Wow.
had
Go ahead.
uh, our best day. I think we had three, but we had 2 days. I think of three, but basically 1 to 3 a day. And we had 15 for the trip. We just got one this morning. We just got one 224. So we're pretty excited about that. Finish out with 15 for the season. Plus, we got one over three, which is in that 15.
Wow, what an incredible trip. And for some reason, we've lost your. I can hear you just fine, Roy, but we can't see you anymore. I want to see your gorgeous hair one more time. You might, Roy, you might see an X on your box there. You can click that and then you can re add yourself if you want, or we'll just listen to your lovely voice. But Isaac is joining us. He says this is fantastic to hear from Roy Rose. And Mackie's on here. He said, um, that he is stoked to hear from you also. That is some incredible yellowfin tuna fishing that you've got going on, Roy. And I don't know how it can get much better. You still with us, Roy?
Yeah, I'm still here. I can
Okay.
see you fine. You're. I see you perfectly.
I know
I
you're going to
see
see.
my mug. I'm stuck and I'm frozen.
Oh, well, who knows what that's all about? Well, we could still hear you, and that's the most important thing. So, 18 days. Some people say to themselves, 18 days on a fishing boat, that's an awfully long time. But my God, the accommodations, the food, everything, it's spectacular on the Royal Polaris, right?
Oh, absolutely. And the way that it's structured, like this trip, we messed around on the way down. We fished Aleos Rocks. We got a few yellowtail for dinner. We stopped, and sometimes depending on what time I need to get to the bank or what time I want to get there. This time I kind of wanted to get down there quick because no one's. It's been had a little rest for some wahoo, so we kind of just blew through the rocks. But like on the last trip, we fished the rocks on the way back, and we had excellent yellowfin tuna fishing on that 30 to 50 pound yellowfin, and we had very good yellowtail fishing. And a lot of times we'll do that on the way down to break up the ride down. We'll
That
fish
is,
there for 3 hours, 4 hours, break up the ride. Guys fish, throw on some for a meal. You get a bunch of nice yellowtail. It makes for a nice variety.
oh, yeah, man, that sounds absolutely fantastic. So, Roy, how many fish do you have over 100 pounds, 200 pounds on this trip?
Oh my goodness! Like there's 15 over two. One of which is a 358. Daryl Shelbourne got that.
Wow.
We've got another handful of 190 to 195s. We probably got over 20 that are over 180 to 189. And I mean, it's a lot. There's a couple hundred fish. It's a lot of fish. We don't usually keep track of the 100 pounders, but there's a lot of them. We got a very nice load of fish on here, and there's a lot of hundred. Everyone on the boat has a fish at least over 150 pounds apiece. Everyone did that, so it was very successful in that arena.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? That is fantastic. Would you rate this as, oh man, I mean, you've had so many great trips in 30 years, Roy. I mean, would you rate this as up there with like one of the top 20 or something like that? This
Mm,
sounds phenomenal.
no, it was good for this year. No, we've had some that have been a lot better, but no, this is very good. I mean, we had another trip in January where we had 17 over two, and we had a 320 on that trip. So we just missed it by two on this one. But no, we were fortunate enough to have two trips where we got into the double digits on those 200 pounders. We were very grateful for it.
We've got listeners saying this is the best captain ever, Roy Rose. Another gentleman chiming in right now saying it's evening time here in Belgium. I'm loving this interview, Roy. You're going international, man. I love it.
Oh, William, that's good. They make good beer over there.
Uh, and another gentleman, and I'm sorry I can't read the names that well in the glare here, but he says, "Talk about the voice of experience, Captain Roy Rose." Roy, that is so true. And what makes you
such an exceptional person. I haven't seen you for a while, but I know that if I bumped into you, you're always so warm and loving and friendly. And man, that means the world. And you treat all your passengers that way. I know that makes a big difference.
Yeah, no, every trip's like a family reunion. In all honesty, I mean, you get to know everyone from all the years. They keep coming back over and over, and it's like y'all got together for the weekend to go fishing. Obviously, it's a little longer than that, but those are the type of relationships. You've been on a boat for so long that you build up with people.
Did you have any heartbreak stories on this trip? Any really big fish that came to gaff and maybe the hook pulled or you lost a fish? Anything like that on this trip that you
Yeah,
remember?
there were several fish that you hooked them. They took out 300-400 yards of line, and then after half an hour, the hook pulls. That's common. I'd say we did that at least 4 or 5 times. That happened throughout the trip. It's very common. And yeah, it's like, damn, I wish I could have seen that one. But you can't. I guess you can't see them all.
Yeah,
We'd
that
like to.
I know that is for sure. So on these trips, now you'll go back into Cabo San Lucas, am I right? And guys will fly home and then they'll meet the boat when it's back in San Diego.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, we're gonna drop them off, and then we'll take the boat back up the line. It'll be there. Just call it a 3-day run back, 2.5, 3 days. Hopefully the weather's nice, and we'll get the fish and all their tackle back home safe.
That sounds good.
Oh yeah, no, I do wherever I'm scheduled. I'm on here. So yeah, I'm scheduled for several of those trips, and yes, there are quite a few new 3-day trips on the books for this year.
Another gentleman, 5 a.m. in Australia. Oh my God, Roy, we're going totally international, man. We're gonna have to take our show on the road or something.
Oh, that's good.
That's
That's
good stuff.
good.
Yeah, so you're going to drop those guys off and then head back. Now, hey, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you this question. Are you worried about what is going on up in the local area on the Bluefin tuna, or do you just think, hey, no big deal, man? They're going to be back.
No, they'll be around. They're just doing what they do. They disappeared. I mean, they'll be up off of San Clemente and all that before you know it, like they never disappeared. Like I said, that fish pretty much. Personally, I don't think they ever leave. They just they're between up there in the local area by San Clemente, and they go down towards maybe the Rosa Bank, then back up. But it never like totally disappears. I think we just stopped fishing for it. I mean, the guys that come out and wrap them in January, they roll out every January and knock it out. It isn't like it's a big mystery. They just follow the water charts, get on them, and get what they need to get, and leave them alone for us.
Yes, sir. Daniel Lightfoot says, good afternoon, Phil and Roy. He's another great Friedman Adventure family member. I'm really enjoying your presentation here. Hey, a guy asked me a question. I don't have the answer to it. I know you would, Roy. He asked me, with the sonars that you guys have, how deep can you see those bluefin tuna? Can you see them at like 150 fathoms, 200 fathoms?
You can set it like for on here if it's for that nighttime fish. If you're driving around and you're market, let's say you're driving around, you're marking them at 80 fathoms, and you're not getting anything. Let's say you're sweeping at 500 feet, 24 degrees, which will give you I forget what it is. It's like 220 feet down. You can just tilt it down as far as you got to go to hit them. This thing will go 1,200 feet. It's a little slower, but you'll still hit fish. We don't usually do that. Usually you'll bump out the range to 600 feet or 700 feet if you're in an area where there's big schools, and tilt it down 20, 22 degrees and sweep. And if you're bumping into fish, like I said, you're seeing them 80 to 100 fathoms, you'll be able to hit them no problem.
If you are joining us right now, I know you can't see Captain Roy Rose. You're stuck with looking at my ugly mug here today. But we'll figure this out for future interviews because this is just one of many to come. You're listening to Roy Rose live from the Royal Polaris, an incredible 18-day trip that he has just finished up with a fish that went, how big? 350 something, did you say, Roy?
It was 358. It was caught on a PL68, which is essentially a rock cod lure with a big hook on it without the treble hook. It's
That's
got a big giant 7691 on it.
That's freaking amazing. What would you tell anglers was the most effective way to catch yellowfin tuna on this trip? What was the best way? Was it the kite or what was it?
This trip was the kite. There's a lot of kite. We had, I think, 3 days where we got them. It was decent fly line fishing. But all the better fish came off the kite. And if there weren't as many sharks in the water, we would have done well on. We would have had more people burning the jigs at night. We would have had guys soaking skipjack and small tuna, which is very effective for that bigger fish. But it's kind of frustrating when you look in the water and you see 4 or 5 sharks cruising around, and then you drop your lure and you hook a shark. So you gotta have some stick to itiveness. You gotta just tell yourself, you know what, I'm just gonna keep catching these stupid things till I hook a tuna, which is what some of these guys did. They kept Some guys lost 3, 4 lures, and they all of a sudden they got a 200-pound tuna on the line, and my hat's off to them. It's like it isn't easy reeling those the sharks in and all that other stuff. But like this one guy, Kevin Shannon, he had 3/2, and one passenger got up at 3:45, dropped his lure, and got a 220-pounder. And he goes, I was outperformed today. He goes, I'm going to get up at 3 o'clock tomorrow, and I'm going to catch one of those. And he did it. He did it yesterday, day before yesterday. He got a 202. He caught 4 sharks, lost 2 lures, lost 2 sets of. We got a shark cutter, so we cut the, what do you call those assist hooks off.
Yeah.
He was down to his last lure with the last hook on it, and he got that 202.
God.
And he earned that son of a gun.
so so Roy, how much of this is persistence? How much of this is being at the rail, working hard?
This is a lot of that. A lot of what you just said. It's at the rail at the right time. Like in the middle of the day when there's nothing going on, the kite, we're catching a bunch of junk. Yeah, take your nap. But if you're serious about, okay, you know what? The prime times are gray light. Gray light meaning, when the sun's popping up. But I tell the guys, if you're serious about this and you want to get a big fish, you start at 4 in the morning. You start burning that PL68. There's no sharks. You catch a small 10-pound yellowfin tuna or a skipjack. You got your big bait rod ready to go, which is a 200-pound outfit with a 20 circle or a 12 7691. Pin that thing on, drop it over the side, and hang on.
Oh my God, that sounds so cool. So you guys are literally fishing with baits that some people would like to catch and throw in their sack, pretty much, right?
Oh yeah, no, they do. They do catch them and throw them in their sacks. But out here, like I said, I've seen them eat 12-pound tuna, no problem. Like, oh man, you're not gonna get a bite on that. It's like, watch this. Throw it over the side. The guy's got one on within 30 seconds. You
Oh,
know?
that is fantastic, man. That is what an adventure. How far is Hurricane Bank from San Diego?
Oh, it's like just under 1,000 miles.
And your weather on the trip, how was that?
It was better when it was windy. It turned into a lake here the last few days, so we couldn't get the kite out. But we had about 5 days of 18 knots, 15 to 18 knots, and that's when we had our best fishing. Once it got really calm, it wasn't as good.
Funny how that
But
works, huh?
yeah, no, I got grease calm, and it's literally it's like you're in your bathtub or at a lake. I mean, it's like the doldrums. It's like literally like this. The kite, you let the kite out the balloon, it goes straight up. There's no current. So luckily there was some wahoo moved in, so we took advantage of that for a couple of days. Had very good wahoo fishing again, so that was nice.
Hey, we've got some crazy people on here like me, but we've got guys asking you, what have you heard about albacore? Have you heard anything about that, Roy? And I guess I could ask you the question also. Uh, are they ever coming back? What do you think?
No, they'll be back. It just depends on the water currents, the water structure. It's not the water, the river of water that those fish are in, or the body of water. It's cutting off up there towards Washington and up there. The main body, it's not coming down here. Eventually, it'll break the pattern. It'll come all the way down. My dad used to have these pilot charts, and he would show me where the currents would come down. They would sweep from up north and come down and swing up from Geronimo, go down and out and up. And that's where we had all that really good albacore fishing back in the old days. And you look at those pilot water charts now, and it's not the same. But you can look at the correlation between those charts and when we've done extremely well on the albacore when they come down here. And with what's going on now with it's just not, it's the water's not making its way down here. Is the bottom line. It's not coming down. It's staying up there for whatever reason. And when it changes, we'll take advantage of it.
It's all about the oceanography, right, Roy?
That's it. That's exactly it. It's like Aleo's Rocks. As soon as we started catching all that yellowfin tuna up there at Guadalupe, back when we could fish it, the rocks pretty much dried up. The rocks was was phenomenal yellowtail fishing for, I mean, yellowfin tuna fishing for years and years and years, and then all of a sudden Guadalupe got hot, and I personally feel that body of fish that used to go to the rocks started going. It just, the currents pushed it up into that Guadalupe Bay, that Guadalupe area, and you notice that used to be a good area for big bluefin tuna. There's no more big bluefin there. It's all yellowfin tuna now. But eventually, it's cyclical. It'll turn back around one of these days if we ever get a chance to try it again. But who knows? That bluefin will move in, the yellowfin will move out. Who knows? But it's all, like I said, it's all current driven.
Roy, we've talked a lot about the phenomenal bite you've had on yellowfin tuna. How was your wahoo bite? Was it good?
Oh, it's very good. We got a little over 200 on here for the trip. It's very good. We're able to scratch them on the anchors, troll. We had a couple of nice days of trolling for them. Days that it was slow on the tuna or just didn't seem right, we'd pick it up and troll around. We had a day for 50, a day for 56, a day for 30, a day for 17. It was just a bunch. I got it all written down, but it was good wahoo fishing and nice fish.
And we've got some guys who are curious about catching wahoo and asking best way to catch a hoo and how do I rig up for it? What do you tell them?
I just tell them to use. If we're gonna be casting like casting bombs, they got the 90-pound wire on them. They're ready to go. And when the fish bites it, it's got a mouthful of hook and not a piece of metal. I know a lot of guys like regular casting iron. It all works good, but like for the rent rods on here, I just tell them, just use this bomb because when they grab it, all they're grabbing is a mouth. Like I said, they attack that mylar, and the only thing there that their mouth grabs is a hook. Everything else collapses, and they got a straight big hook in their mouth. It seems to be the most effective that I've, for me, at watching people catch them. That's what makes that one. I'm not going to say it's idiot proof, but it's pretty damn effective. You're still going to lose them. Don't get me wrong. They make everybody look bad, but they once they get that bomb in their mouth, it's pretty. It's your chances go way up of landing them. And another thing is you got to have a 50-pound minimum, 50 or 60-pound line, less stretch, better hook set. You don't want to be using 40-pound. You're not worried about casting it 100 blocks away from the boat. You're just going to underhand it, let it sink, get it down at a 45-degree angle, and wind it back as fast as you can. You'll expose that lure to more fish. When they grab it, remember not to set the hook. You just wind till the line starts coming off the reel. Then you set the hook.
What a wealth of information you're sharing with all our viewers here. I deeply appreciate it. You know, one thing about who they are so freaking fast. It seems like we've all done this before. If you fish wahoo, you hook one in the stern, and all of a sudden he's way up in the bow. Before you know it, you got to put your track shoes on.
Well, we had a lot of that going on this trip. Yeah, you'll see the line go, and then all of a sudden it goes rooster tailing back up the other side. And all you can do is yell, "Hey, watch out for the anchor line!" Because yeah, I've seen that line. You know, wahoo goes hauling up the side, and they'll cut that anchor. They'll cut that Samson braid, and when it comes out of the water, where the line goes through, it's like you took a torch and melted it. It goes through the water that fast, that mono or that spectra. It just seals it. It's incredible.
Pretty crazy stuff. From Australia, Labworks wants to know, did you catch any big yellowtail on this trip? Did you get a chance to fish for those?
We on the way down, it's kind of windy, and no, we got a couple for dinner, like maybe a 25, 30 pounder, another one a little smaller, maybe 18, 20 pounds. We didn't really spend that much time targeting them. We had a couple other ones get away, but like I said, I was kind of in a rush. I wanted to get down here and check this bank out, get started on the trip.
Yeah, you were pretty much straight lining, it sounds like.
Yeah, yeah, that's it.
All right, good stuff. Roy, what is the season for these long trips? When does it start? When does it end? I'm talking about the calendar month.
The calendar month for us, we start our first long trip in January, and then it ends here in April. I know some guys go in November or December, um, but for us, that's when we start. But I know there's other boats that'll go a little earlier, and um, and it's kind of hit and miss just because of the water temperature. A lot of times the water could be too warm. I know a couple guys, or one boat in particular, that had two trips they tried to make it down there, and the water was just too hot, and they got stuck up here because they would have killed all their bait, and so it wouldn't have been good.
Roy, I got to tell you, we're going to have to do this more often. By the way, I might be able to get you back on here on the video. So don't go anywhere. But before I try that, and in case I lose you, once again on the Royal Polaris, do you have any more of these long trips in the future, or are you guys done with these?
No, we're done. We're starting boat work now. We're starting our maintenance.
Well, what a way to go out with this incredible trip.
Yeah, yeah, it's good. It's a good feeling and a nice time.
Man, it's so nice to hear your voice. All right, so if I lose you, Roy, thank you so much. But don't go anywhere. I want to see if this brings your video back, and then we can say goodbye to you in person. But thank you for your time. Thank you for all the great trips on the Royal Polaris, including this one. Another great trip, Roy.
All right, thank you. We
All
got
right,
lucky again.
don't go anywhere. Let me see if. No, that didn't work. Okay, I figured out what that was. Roy, good to have you on the show, and we'll do it again really, really soon, my friend.
All right, you got it. We'll see you later, Phil. You
Take
have a
care,
good
Roy.
day. We'll
Bye
see you.
bye.
Thank you, Roy. That was spectacular. What an update. I'm sorry we lost Roy and you had to stare at me for the majority of that, but Roy's a spectacular human being, and what a trip they're having. And he chimed in, as you heard, on the Bluefin tuna. He thinks it's just in. Another old captain, Bradley Phillips, says, don't push the panic button. That bluefin is just deep right now, feeding on other stuff. It'll be back in the picture before you know it. Other guys are like, my hair's on fire. Where are these things? It's been a couple of weeks since we've seen any volume of them. The most recent catch, 48 hours ago on the New Loan, had one bluefin tuna, metered 3 fish, but we have not seen any evidence of life here for quite some time. And in the lead-in, I told you about Joe Surwald, Friedman Adventures family member who lives up there in Northern California, saying that the whale watch boats out of Monterey are seeing bluefin tuna 4 miles off the beach. Now, before you get carried away here, I'm not suggesting that all the bluefin tuna are up there in Monterey. We've seen them here, we've seen them there, we've seen them all up and down the coast in previous years at the same time, simultaneously. So they could be deep here and showing up there in Monterey. Some guys are going to think, oh my God, they've all moved up into that neck of the woods. We'll see how this all plays out, but for right now, not much on the Bluefin tuna. More boats heading out to scour the areas that traditionally have been holding bluefin tuna. So we'll see how that plays out. Man, the sun is actually coming up. I can actually see that beautiful Eastern Pacific, and it's gorgeous. Can you imagine chucking a chrome crocodile out there right now? Wow. Boom! Big old yellowfin croaker. Nice halibut. Perfect conditions for surf fishing, which I'll get into in a moment longer. So we're looking out for the bluefin tuna, but not much right now. We'll continue to monitor that for you very, very closely. All right, let's just talk about from San Diego up to the Channel Islands in general. The rock fishing has been spectacular, whether it's San Diego, Oceanside, Dana Wharf Sport Fishing, Newport Beach, California, Long Beach, San Pedro, Redondo, Marina del Rey, up there in the Channel Islands out of Oxnard and Ventura. It really has been spectacular. Part of it is you can fish as deep as you want right now. And I hear a lot of guys saying, wow, I don't want to fish 600 feet of water. What a pain. Man, that's where you get all those big old giant rockfish in that deep water, which has been off limits for some time. So it truly is a great time to get out and catch some of the finest eating fish in the sea. They are so delicious. In fact, I hope to be munching on a fish taco without the tortilla here in Mexico in not too much longer. But you can do that right here. So great fishing up and down the coast, no question about it. In most cases, you want to bring 6 ounces to 16 ounces. I bring a pound of weight in case you get out in that deeper water, because a lot of guys will hit the shallow and the deep. Perfect example is the pursuit out of 22nd Street Landing in San Pedro, California. They go over to Catalina Island. They'll fish deep. They'll fish a little bit shallow. They'll go in and check the kelp line. They've been doing all of that and more on board the Pursuit and doing quite well. Several other boats have looked at San Clemente Island recently. Picked off a few yellowtail. The bass bite kind of slow right now. The water's a little too cool. Plenty of rockfish there. Santa Barbara Island has been hammered on, and it has produced some really great lingcod fishing, big sheep's head, and also San Nicolas Island have been taking a look at that. Big sheephead, nice lingcod, excellent rockfish going on as Nick continues to produce. And up there in the Channel Islands, man, I tell you, guys out of Cisco's and Oxnard and other landings have been doing so good. Ventura sport fishing, wow, their boats have been hammering on the fish. Now, I think the Endeavor has a trip tonight. It's a charter, but they had one spot open. You can call Alan, the charter master, if you want to grab that. It might be tomorrow night. I'm all screwed up on that one, but Alan will straighten you out. If you'd like to get on the Endeavor, and they're going to focus their efforts on sea bass and halibut, and they've been getting a signal on that. Alan's number is 805-795-1497. Give Alan a call and tell him hi for me, even though Alan has no idea who the heck I even am. So once again, check that out if you'd like to go. They have been getting a sign. Over there on the Endeavor, he's picked off a few white sea bass, but seen evidence of more and more fish. We love that. And also he had 12 halibut on a recent trip. Some of the other guys up there have been picking off some halibut, so that looks good. And don't forget the local boats, both the Island Spirit and the Californian, really great giant rockfish here recently, and they've got gorgeous weather for Tuesday. It looks great if you want to get out on one of their local boats, and I highly recommend you join Cody there on the Californian. He does such a great job, or Daniel on the Island Spirit. Both their crews are spectacular. Customer service way up here, and the fishing's great also. 805-676-3474. Probably light loads tomorrow and nice weather, and the rock fishing's been really, really good. So get on up there to Ventura Harbor Sport Fishing. Don't forget, it's tax season. In fact, today's the day, April 15th. You better call Tim Marquez while you can. A-Best Income Taxing will help you through the maze of figuring out your income tax. He's happy to do it. Give Tim a call today. And for your heating and or air conditioning needs, you want to call my dear friend John Lopez at Efficient Heating and Air Conditioning. Give John a call. He'll help you out right away. The Pride has been having some decent fishing on halibut and sea bass. They've been seeing sea bass. Sea bass bite hadn't been all that great. They're picking a few fish here and there. They had a couple of halibut over the weekend. They had more than that, but two that I want to point out. One that was 27 pounds, another that was 22 pounds. On the Pride out of 22nd Street Landing, their focus is sea bass, halibut, and then filling in with sheep's head and whitefish and rockfish. But their primary goal is to get you a white sea bass or a halibut right now. Speaking of halibut, on the local scene, the native sun still picking away at some fish. 27 guys, 11 sand bass, 3 halibut, 81 scoldman, 16 whitefish. We see a little bit of halibut here locally. We see it at Catalina Island for the pursuit. Occasionally they come up with a really nice score, and we of course see it up there in the Channel Islands where we've seen a better signal of that here recently. A reminder again, Thursday I'm at the Fibbers Club. We would love to see you there. Don't forget to get your Friedman Adventures merch. That's right, you can get a shirt or a hat, and we deeply appreciate the support for the channel. It really helps us a great deal if you're able to purchase a hat or a shirt at www.embroiderycreations.net. We would appreciate it if you were able to do that. So keep that in mind. All right, let's talk the Southern California surf, because that is an ocean that I would love to be fishing right now. And I think we're going to find an ocean like that when we get down to Mexico and fish with Paulina. Man, you make your cast right now, and then you come back through that white water with a chrome crocodile or a little cast master, something like that, and you are going to get hammered. I'll tell you right now. Or toss out a ghost shrimp. That is a great way to go. We've seen some good yellowfin croaker fishing all along the beaches. We're starting to see a few more spotfin croaker. Check out Glenn Mina with that spectacular catch and that great big smile. Glenn, way to go, my friend. That is a nice catch. And those spotfins should start to show up here in Surfside and down there on Anderson Street and Pacific Coast Highway, right by that big tower. Walk out on the beach and chuck out some worms on a hook. You're fishing bait for spotfin. They do not like to bite on the artificials all that well. Still a lot of bar perch here with the cooler water temperatures. Bar perch like that cooler water. And I'm not just talking here. I'm talking from below the border to up to Ventura area. And there's been quite a bit of halibut also taken here with Lucky Crab lure, or those little chrome jigs work really well. A lot of guys like the drop shot. That's a good way. A few Corvina. Water's a little cool for that, but some guys have had some really nice big Corvina in the short water. Remember those Corvina. See that wave breaking right there? I mean, that's where those Corvina are, right behind that. Sometimes even in this shallower water, Corvina are in the shallows, and their mouths are structured to suck those sand crabs up out of the sand, and they've got a crushing device in their throat that allows them to crush those things up. So that is good stuff. I love hearing those birds. Those terns are a sure evidence that there's some fish here on the beach. Don't forget Big Fish Bait and Tackle in the beautiful city of Seal Beach, California. They've got all the bait you'll need, all the tackle you'll need, from not only surf fishing to trout fishing to calico bass fishing to bluefin, tuna, and marlin, and everything in between. They've got it for you right there on the corner of Seal Beach Boulevard and Pacific Coast Highway. Don't forget Big Fish Bait and Tackle also with a monthly tournament where they're giving away a beautiful custom rod. Can't believe how gorgeous this thing is. And they give it away every single month. This month it's for the biggest Corvina. Go to Big Fish, get your ruler, lay it in the sand, lay your Corvina down there, take a photo, upload the photo to the Big Fish Bait and Tackle Instagram page, and you're in the tournament. Last month it was Glenn Saldivar with a giant 15.5-inch barred perch. Glenn is one heck of a fisherman. Hey, Glenn, I think I heard you weren't feeling 100%, but you're getting on the mend. All my best to you, my friend. Get out there and catch another big Corvina. Wouldn't surprise me if Glenn won this one, too. He's an outstanding surf fisherman. Really, really good stuff. So this month, biggest Corvina. Next month, we'll change species again. Big Fish, Bait, and Tackle. All right, enjoyed Roy Rose. That is good stuff. Cabo San Lucas. What is going on down there? The Marines are there. And we'll see how that all unfolds. And of course, we're still looking for bluefin tuna, seeing them on the whale watch boats up there. I'll see you tonight, 6 p.m. live with Paulina from Botes Juanitos. That should be a lot of fun. Who knows what we may have in store for you. Somebody may arrive with some big yellows or something like that. And then we will also be taking you on a trip with us to Ensenada Thursday, the Fibbers Club. Can't wait to see you there. Tuesday night, we're going to do Tackle Shop Confessions. Sam De La Torre at Island Fishing Tackle in Carson, California, and Paulina and yours truly from Ensenada. We'll see how that remote hookup plays out. That also should be a lot of fun. Hey, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for your great support. I really, really appreciate all you do for the channel. Grab some merchandise, that would mean a lot. Hit that like button. And as always, I hope to see you really, really soon. Take care, my friends.